After we discovered the 6 types of working geniuses, we realized that there's actually an interesting way to classify them in 2 categories. On the one hand, some of them are what we call responsive. They tend to respond to the environment or to others. And some of them are what we call disruptive. They tend to disrupt and kind of exert their influence or their will on the environment. So let's look at each of these. Wonder, discernment, and enablement are all responsive. The wonderer responds to their environment. They sit back and they observe and they ask questions and they're sitting there taking it all in, and they really get joy and energy from doing that. The discerner is responsive to the inventor who comes up with an idea, and they say, that's your idea, let me take it in and give you feedback and give you an assessment of what I think it could be better or what needs to change. The enablement person, they're responding to the galvanizer who says, let's do it. And they're saying, okay, now that you've provoked that in me, I will respond in what you need. All of those are responsive. And what's important to understand is people whose geniuses are both in the responsive area might not take initiative and might be waiting for somebody else to do that. And rather than judging them as not caring, we can realize they're just more naturally, they get their joy and energy from responding to outside influences. Now, for the disruptive ones. Inventors are disruptive. They look at a question and they say, I want to bring a new idea that's going to change things. I want to make things different and disrupt the way things are now. Galvanizers are certainly disruptive because they hear about a great idea and they say, I want to get everybody in a room and make them stop what they're working on so they can rally around something new. I want to disrupt this environment so we can rally around something different. People with tenacity are disruptive because they want to blow through obstacles. They see things that stand in the way of finishing, and they said, I'm going to disrupt that so that we can push it across the finish line and achieve what we wanted to achieve. Now, why does this matter, this responsive disruptive thing? Well, first, we need to understand people. Some are more comfortable initiating, some are not. Secondly, when people are trying to figure out what their genius is, sometimes when there's a doubt, we can say, do you consider yourself more disruptive or responsive in this? And they will immediately say, oh yeah, now that's the tiebreaker. Now finally, the last part of this that's interesting is, remember we talked about the 3 stages of work: ideation, activation, and implementation. Within each stage, there is one genius that's responsive and one that's disruptive. You see, you need both of these things in every stage. A team that's primarily disruptive but not responsive is going to miss things. A team that's primarily responsive and not disruptive is not going to be able to exert their will on the environment. It's all necessary, responsive and disruptive.